Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to the new episode of Let's Talk. And today we are gonna talk about Barcelona.
So basically in this video we're gonna have a little review, not of the whole history of Barcelona, but couple of last years, what happened, what decision they made, and was it good or bad.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about their fall off and, well, now what it looks as return to glory, because they are really playing good this year under Hansi Flick. But before we come any further, we are on a road to 100 subscribers, so subscribe.
I bet we can both agree that the downfall of the old good Barca with Messi, Suarez and Neymar started with the last one actually leaving the club.
Yeah, they lost 1/3 of their team in that front three. I wouldn't say that they necessarily lost their way because they sold Neymar. He had this release clause. PSG wanted to trigger it because they wanted to make a power move of the new owners. But the issue starting arising with the way how they spend that money, because at that point Barca had cash and all of the clubs in the world knew that they have cash.
Yeah, and they were very eager to actually spend it.
Yeah.
So yeah, as we checked a couple of times, Barcelona got 222 million euros for Neymar, for selling him to PSG, who still has ambitions to win a Champions League, yet still zero.
That didn't happen with Neymar. Unfortunately, Neymar's career went the wrong way because of the injuries.
Yeah, that was also his downfall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the downfall of Barcelona started, as I said it in the previous segment, with how they spend money. Because they paid in the summer 155 millions for Ousmane Dembele, and then they doubled down in the winter transfer market when they bought from Liverpool Philippe Coutinho for 160 million. So basically they spent
all of
the Neymar money and plus some. They also bought Nelson Semedo for huge amount for a right back.
Yeah, and also some rising stars of these days, like Yeremina from Colombia,
Yeah,
which they
but
bought
at least
from Palmeiras.
Yeremina they resold him the next year for profit to Everton, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
But when you consider Dembele, at the end he went for free and he was on a huge contract and didn't provide that much quality on the pitch, to be honest, because he never scored double digits in La Liga. In that year Barcelona managed to win a title, but it was literally purely on Suarez and Messi, who together scored 79 goals in all competitions.
Yeah, so imagine the numbers, but both of these players were top class.
Top class, but they were also aging at that point, so
yeah, so Barca was starting to looking for any replacements, and they got lots of cash, and on paper buying Coutinho and Dembele, right?
Yeah.
Might work, and they both might be as good as Neymar alone, in top form still, because
literally that was the best season, well, half of the season for Coutinho, and Dembele just never took off. He had injury issues, he had lots of problems regarding that, and never came to fruition. And they didn't even pick up any money because he left on free for again to Paris Saint-Germain. So yeah, next season again brought them a title, but that was purely on Messi vibes, because he scored 50 plus goals in that season, and that was one of the best individual seasons in history, I guess.
Still, yeah.
And well, at least they didn't spend that much amount of money for this transfer window, but they still bought few players that cost a decent penny.
Yeah, they started being more cautious because they felt okay, now we have a lot of money, so we can go here and there. And yeah, quickly they figure it out that it's not working like this, and even selling back these players didn't even get them half of this money back.
Yeah.
So lots of money burned.
I mean, in this season they bought Langley, who is still contracted to Barcelona and didn't play for them in like 3 years. He's now constantly being loaned out. He was at Tottenham, then in Aston Villa, and now he's also on another loan. It's at Atletico Madrid now, but it's insane. I mean, at least they managed to get some money back from Malcolm because he costed a lot of money. Like 40 million is not a small amount. But at least they kind of fooled Zenit into giving that money back to them. So it was like at least they cut even in this deal.
Yeah,
But yeah.
those were still the times where some new clubs with like very rich owners had like big ambitions, and
Zenit was trying to
they were
make a
spending.
mark on European football, and they bought some like high-profile players.
Yeah, with Gazprom being also sponsor of Champions League, but that's like some another
Different topic,
different
yeah.
story exactly.
But yeah, so at this point, Barcelona is still successful.
They still have Messi, but winning the titles of La Liga isn't enough if you wanna make money.
And they didn't manage to go further than into semi-final of Champions League.
Yeah, where they got
And,
smacked by Bayern.
Yeah, but that defeat will come in 2 years' time. But let's move on to the next season.
And yeah, we were talking that Barca started being more cautious about the transfers into the club, but then next season started and we had Griezmann joining.
Yeah, we had Griezmann for 120 mil, we had Frankie de Jong for 75 mil,
Yeah,
and in total, if I'm not mistaken, it was 273 million spent.
back again, like
And
another try of buying actually
That's
Barca's
another Neymar plus 50 mil.
Mm-hmm.
And they
Second time.
sold some players, but like one of the most embarrassing sales was they sold Marco Kurela to Eibar for only 2 million euros.
Yeah,
And considering this was like 2020, for that money you couldn't even buy a Big Mac. Like, and you gave one of the best like left backs who he became in Brighton and now in Chelsea for this amount of money. Okay, I get the logic. You have Jordi Alba, but Jordi Alba at this point is 89,
yeah.
and now there's an aging squad. A lot of players are now basically on their last legs.
Exactly, and started looking for some exotic leagues like MLS or starting Saudi Arabian League.
But we're still not up to that point. That nightmare will begin next year. And yeah, this was the season where they actually lost the title for the first time.
Yeah, and that was also a bad thing for money.
Yeah, like no title, less revenue. And now it was obvious that Suarez and Messi were kinda aging a bit. You wouldn't say so when you compare their like stats, because
Numbers were also crazy still.
yeah, they were still crazy, but compared to previous seasons, it was a drop-off.
Yeah.
And Griezmann, after having 7 consecutive seasons for 2 different teams where he scored double digits in the league, didn't manage to do it for Barcelona. And he contributed only with like 14 goals in all of the competitions.
And still wasn't a champion of La Liga, even though he
Yeah.
became a world champion, by the way.
And Philippe Coutinho, who they bought for huge money just like a year and a half ago, was now loaned out to Bayern Munich.
And in the same season, actually, Die Maschine, Bayern Munich,
Steamrolled past them in the semi-final, and
Yeah.
to rub the salt into the wounds, Philippe Coutinho, who they like banished on a loan to Bayern, scored a goal in this horrific 8-2 car crash of a game.
exactly, and that was not like 2 matches score, it was like in a one.
Yeah, because this was COVID season.
Yeah, with empty
Stadiums
and
and like
this like kind of dead atmosphere, and still golden age of Lewandowski, future player of also Barca, but that's also like a future thing.
And as we said, well, the story is only gonna get worse from here.
Yeah, the bad history continues because like these bad transfers, bad decisions, and burning all of the money was just the beginning of downfall of Barca.
And in 2021 season, they only finished third, and Atletico Madrid won the title. And now imagine this.
With Barca players.
Yeah, because like with their one of their best players was actually Luis Suarez, who they gave up for peanuts.
9 million just. Nothing.
And they had Griezmann, who cost him 120. But yeah, like literally at this point, only piece of great work that they did was buying Pedri for only 5 mil from Las Palmas.
Yeah.
But that's something for the future because he's
Further
wasn't
future.
there.
Yeah, because we are talking about like pre-Euro 2020 era. So yeah, Pedri was a star of 2 Euros further.
But before we continue going forward to 21-22 season, let's first talk about some changes that were happening around the club around this time.
Yeah, and I guess the biggest change was actually selling the shirt. I mean, through decades, the Barca shirt was like clean. It had only like the crest of the club. Eventually, maybe like a sponsor of, let's say, like Adidas, Nike, someone like that.
Yeah, like
but
the manufacturer of the the shirt,
of the shirt,
not actual sponsor.
Yeah, and also like the brands on the like sleeves, like Champions League brand, let's say. But like the main part was clean. But yeah, times were changing and clubs needed more money, and it turned out that even Barca sold their shirt, and through 4 or 5 years maybe the Barcelona players were running around on the pitch with Qatar Airways logo on the shirt, and that was just the beginning, because after that the whole like marketing was just like gaining momentum. We had also Rakuten, and later, even right now, I think their biggest sponsor, which is not only on the shirt but also on the Camp Nou, which is still like being built, like a new one, renovated, yeah, are being also sold, but like in a different way, because we don't see Spotify logo on the shirt. We see, for example, like someone's like some artists new albums, like names logos also of the like new upcoming albums on Barca's shirt. And so actually we can ask, where's the Spotify logo? It will be on the Camp Nou stands.
And also one of the things that is costing Barcelona a lot in recent seasons is the renovation of the stadium, because they're preparing it for World Cup
in 2030.
Yeah, in 2030. And you were actually there to see how it looks like now.
Yeah, so I took my chance, because I was in March in Barcelona also, so like yeah, I was there for a first time, and I really must have seen just a glimpse of this place, because this is like a mecca. Iconic stadium for lots of fans. If you like Barca or not, you are actually very curious to see their stadium. And yeah, I saw mostly like sand and like a skeleton of the building, because it was being scrapped from almost everything, because actually Camp Nou will gain like a roof for all of the stands in the near future. And yeah, right now the stadium looks way better than in March of this year, but there's still a lot to do. But yeah, in Spain you have mañana
exactly,
lots of sun, and they have time. Like 6 years we will have 1 Euro and one other World Cup in North America. And like by the way, like next time we will have only one host. It will be in 2034, and it will be Saudi Arabia, because now we have North America.
Have Qatar, then you're gonna have Saudi Arabia, like
yeah,
oil money talks.
For a single host. But yeah, this also costs right now, like this like whole renovation of Camp Nou costs like a lot, and the money will flow there, because it's not like you pay, let's say for example 100 million, and that's it. No, it costs always rises, and many times these like modern stadiums might feel like overpriced, but that's how it goes.
Yeah, and it's not even about the price. It's about you also need to take into consideration maintenance of this huge of a stadium costs a lot. And now we're talking about a club who is basically went from being filthy rich after selling Neymar to a club that is like strapped for cash.
Yeah, and saying some strange financial words that I still don't really understand, and I don't wanna go there because my knowledge about this
They're
is like
getting
zero.
way too complicated, like with reprogramming all of these things and like selling future rights. It's
Yeah, like we are basically talking about a club that basically lost all of its money, and yet there see like players being bought for like 60-70 million still.
Yeah, and in
Somehow.
reality, Barca is now like this drunken uncle who is trying to like find a quarter in the couch. We were waiting for season 21-22 because that was actually like end of an era, or as I would say it even more likely, nail in the coffin.
Exactly. Lionel Messi left the club, even though that he still wanted to be there and try to figure it out how to make it work like financially, but no, there was no cash for him, and who wants to play for free? Actually, even Messi doesn't want.
I mean, at this point, all of the players were taking pay cuts, especially like the most paid players, but still, like they were so far down that it didn't even help them.
Yeah.
And well, let's keep it real. That part of the issue is even now still like above their heads, because they were still fighting to register Dani Olmo like this season. It was like touch and go.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna have another problem. Will they be able to register him after January? So
for next year.
yeah, not even next year, like the second part of the season. And it's something that remains, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Exactly, because even after that, they still bought some players. They spent like around 60 million euro.
Yeah, most of that money went to buy Ferran Torres from City.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's not the worst of the transfers, because God knows they made lots of those, but it's still, I mean, not a big move. And they tried to make things happen in a different way this season, so they bought few players on free transfers, like Sergio Aguero came to Barcelona and unfortunately had to retire because of heart issues.
Yeah.
They also had Memphis Depay, who was, well,
At the end of his like top form.
I mean, he played well for Atletico Madrid after it, but I mean, yeah,
Not the vibes. And now we are with, let's say, our times, because we are talking right now about season 22-23, where the new big Barcelona was kind of starting showing up, like moving, because Barca brought some players that right now are shining like a stars. But before that, Xavi was still like head coach, a big legend of the club, one of the players that should have
one
like
of the
a
best
golden ball. Yeah. He should have like a golden ball, and also with Iniesta, but he as a coach was strange. Like I still have like this like strange vibes, strange like feelings, because yet they win La Liga championship with these players, and also Lewandowski proved himself once again.
He scored more than 30 goals in all competitions that year.
Yeah, and he was the top scorer of Spanish La Liga. still, but their wins.
You weren't convinced.
No one was, because it was like being very much like sweating out, like
Yeah.
it was mostly winning just by one goal with the nerves till the very last
They
whistle.
did have like a lot of late calls, but
Yeah, and the defense was very struggling, and like holes all around. Like every rival was able to go anywhere they still wanted, but like Xavi was also like more like a coach friend of all of these like players, and they still were like big stars connected with some like young and very like promising players, and they kind of, I think, like by looking at it right now with Hansi Flick, they needed actually someone like a real coach with some like discipline being put.
because that's a different perspective.
Yeah.
And I mean that in the end was maybe the issue with Xavi, and especially like he took to the heart everything that media was telling about him, about the games.
Yeah.
And like when it comes to Hansi Flick, the guy doesn't speak Spanish, the guy doesn't speak Catalan. He is like outside of that bubble, and he's just like focused on the team. Like recently when they signed Szczęsny, he was asked in the conference like, so will Inaki Pena be the goalkeeper, or will it now be like turn for Szczęsny? Like, and I'm satisfied with the way he's playing, he will be playing. And that was the end of the story. Like no explaining yourself to the media or anything, just like straight to the point.
Straight to the point, and just focusing on the players and the discipline and the scores actually.
Yeah, but at least this was the season that was successful in, well, not only winning the title, but also they brought in few players who are key parts of the team now, such as Rafinha and also Lewandowski. They managed to get Christensen on a free transfer from Chelsea. They got Frank Kessie from Milan also on free transfer, and that's in a way like.
Yeah, we had some like glimpses of how this kind of works, but yeah,
The money was still tight, and they were still trying to squeeze out every penny.
yeah.
possible.
Yeah, and
But,
that will stay with the club for years.
certain times still, yeah. But also one of the things that people won't remember, and I honestly didn't remember this, is that this was the season where Lamine Yamal got his debut for Barcelona.
Yeah, and this is also like some future star, because back then no one
I mean,
was.
at this point, I wouldn't even say the future star. He literally went from a kid to a full-fledged star. Like he is the guy.
He's actually replying a story of Messi, because Messi also started very young, and back then you actually see that he's something else, like
Yeah.
higher
And
thinking level.
when you think about this time, like Yamal did all of these things, and Messi at this point didn't even play first team football for Barcelona.
And he got like a red card in his debut, like
This
Messi.
is scary. This is scary, but let's not get ahead of ourselves, and we're gonna go to the next season, and it was, well, the last season, 23-24. And yeah, if losing Messi was bad, well, in the season, last season, the last remains of this great Barcelona left the club. So Jordi Alba left the club and Sergio Busquets left the club.
Yeah, like last players that still remembered how it was in the golden era, where everyone was still very much afraid of Barca.
Yeah, this Guardiola football and tiki-taka, but I mean, in that season they at least managed to get out of the group stage of Champions League, because like the season prior when they actually won La Liga, that was embarrassing. They managed to crash out in the group stages, and then even in Europa League they didn't manage to get some good results.
Yeah, with Manchester United, as far as I remember.
Yeah, you remember good. But yeah, at least they stopped spending at this point. Like they just brought in few players on free transfers, and I mean Inigo Martinez is kind of crucial to their defense now, so it was like a great pickup. And actually, well, they did spend some money in winter, but it's like Victor Roque, who's like a great prospect now. He's on loan on Betis, so let's see how that will go.
Yeah, maybe he will also be a big star, like in 2-3 years.
He's promising, really. He even played for Brazil senior team, so let's see. They also managed to sign Ilkay Gundogan from City, but then we're gonna fast forward a bit to this season currently, and they got Dani Olmo. They couldn't register Dani Olmo, so they had to let Ilkay Gundogan return to Manchester City to free up the money. And now Barcelona is like cursed for these like mental gymnastics of like financial wows that they have.
Yeah, they actually grabbing any like razor.
Literally that, and well, at least the results are really good at this point.
Still, yeah, and still big hopes for the future with Hansi Flick.
Yeah, like you said in the previous things that we were talking about, Hansi Flick was the guy who made Lewandowski play his best football.
Yeah, just like in Bayern.
Yeah, and then, well, the positive signs are there after 4-0
win with with Real Madrid also. Yeah, that was like a big smack.
Definitely, and in the like heart of Madrid, like they managed to do that, and to be honest, it could have even been more.
It could have been like, because we had like posts and also like some big misses of Lewandowski, but still like winning 4-0 at
I mean, winning
their
at
ground.
all is really good. They did have a slip up, last week when they lost to Sociedad 1-0, but
And
that
also
was
in
very embarrassing when it comes to refereeing again. Lewandowski
And-
got his goal disallowed, and it should have been. That goal should have stood.
Yeah, because apparently like the semi-automatic VAR system mismatched the shoes of two players. Like machine thought that the shoe that was on the offside position was Lewandowski's shoe.
Yeah, and
it
like
wasn't.
as we can say that he wasn't wearing clown shoes. That is
Like
yeah.
size 60.
Did you see Rafinha's post on Instagram about that?
Yeah.
That like explains it all.
I mean, how many clubs can have a history like Bayer Leverkusen or like Arsenal in beginnings of 21st century where they didn't lose anything? Like
You have to lose sometimes.
you have to lose sometimes,
But it hurts when it's like referee's fault actually.
It
all of
always-
this system, but yeah, Real Madrid.
still.
But yeah, still they're first in La Liga and they're playing well in Champions League.
Very well, even though that they lost first fixture, also with some strange decisions of
Like
refs.
early red card, and then it just went downhill from there.
Yeah, like it was like a very solid looking at the beginning, but then it fell down like house of cards. And Monaco won that match, and Monaco is still like doing
Playing really good.
really good.
That's actually a surprise to me, to be honest.
Yeah, like whole top 8 of Champions League after like half.
Weird.
It is very weird.
Like
and
Brest is top 5, man. Like
yeah, like who would have
nobody
thought?
had that on bingo card.
in times when like this Super League idea is still like coming back of only like top of the top like clubs playing all the times with each other. Where are they right now? They are like somewhere in
Yeah,
down.
in the like bottom half of the standings. Like
Yeah.
Real is the bottom half currently.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And yeah, so with this outro, we can say that Flick flicked Barca to the like shiner part.
And he managed to flick Bayern, who previously flicked him out of the job.
Yeah, like, and that was also like a smacking. Barca is playing finally, at least for now, the football that you could expect from them, from
Yeah.
these players. Like lots of goals and very solid at the back.
They like change philosophy under Flick. Now they're playing more directly. They're not afraid to go, and you can see it best with their wingers how they're playing really good. Like Rafinha is having the time of his life at this moment.
And Lewandowski third, times maybe.
So yeah, that's like it's promising, and let's say like Yamal is potentially can be one of the best players of the world like very very soon.
Yeah.
Let's just hope that he doesn't get any injuries that could derail his progress, but that kid looks scary.
Yeah, he sees everything, and he's so young still. Like he's still going to school.
Yeah, and like that's sometimes maybe the only hope of the Barcelona position is that he's gonna miss the match because he has to go to school tomorrow.
Yeah, he has to pass the math test.
Yeah. But anyway, in general, this was it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed our little recap, and let us know your thoughts about Barcelona, about all of these changes that are happening, and what do you think their future will be?
It can be like further future, or this can be like end of this season.
Yeah, let's see what the cards will be dealt for them. And as always, hope you enjoyed this video and subscribe to our channel.